Today I fucked up by talking to grandma about birth control. Happened this morning and I inwardly cringe every time I think about it. I had my AirPods in and was cleaning the bathroom and decided to give my grandmother a call. We were just catching up and chatting. After some time, I started venting about things that were frustrating me. One of them being my husband and I's decision to change birth control. We already have 2 boats a day. I fucked up children together that keep us on our toes, and I was expressing my frustration about his resistance on getting a vasectomy. I explained to her that in the past I've been on various types of birth control, pill, implant and IUD, and now I'm done putting things in my body. Done feeling crazy and out of control of my emotions, done with weird side effects, and I told her Bubby, the proverbial birth control ball is in his court. If we have a third, I'm fine with it, but it's on him. She then proceeded to say, tattered blonde, let me tell you a little family secret. Always eager for hot family gossip, my ears perked up and I stopped what I was doing. My grandmother then went into vivid detail about the pull-out method. Cue inward cringe and shock. I hastily tried to interrupt her, describing how and where my grandpa's jizz went or didn't go. How no extra laundry was made and they made to shower afterwards with the good soap. This spiraled into her telling me how my father was conceived but she couldn't stop. As she finished, I stood there in shock. Blinking rapidly, mouth agape, I realized she asked me a question. As my thoughts fled the exit, I kindly tried to explain that Grandpa had a weak pull-out game and that pulling out was a very common and well-known act. And that's in fact how my dad was conceived. Bobby seemed skeptical of my news and then told me it was a family secret because her mother-in-law was so kind and brave enough to pass it on down to her in secret. Bobby had found this family secret to be delightful and naughty. Too long didn't read. Family's secret birth control is a weak pull-out game. When I was 12, my nan casually mentioned that no one ever got pregnant from the butt. I feel you. When my grandparents got married, they used spermicide foam. Unfortunately, my Mimi is not a smart woman and put it on the outside of her hoo-ha instead of inside. Thus, my mother was brought into being. I mean, she was either gonna get a baby or a yeast infection. There's no winning with that stuff, lol. Poor Granny, she really thought she was giving you solid advice. She's a pretty cool lady. The good soap, smiley face. If only you could have pulled out of the conversation. Today I fucked up by not reading the terms of service. Like ever. Edit, just putting this at the top. I am not afraid of China swooping in and taking me away to China over light bulbs. You don't need to post reasons why it's highly unlikely, this is just to share for fun. So, I am a normal human, meaning I don't ever actually read 20-page long user agreements or the terms of service. Does anyone? No. You skim, maybe, and then you click the little box saying you read it and agree with them and accept legal hoopla. I'm not doing anything illegal, so I never really thought much about them. Until today. Who would even think you'd need to read a user agreement about light bulbs? The worst part is, I'm totally at fault, because technically everything is legally sound. I purchased some smart light bulbs, LED lights you can dim or change hue on command, either through the manufacturer's app, which you have to have installed in order to get the bulbs connected, or through a virtual assistant, like Alexa. The app itself is a little weird, but so are most apps created for products with integrated internet features. You have to share your location for humidity reasons and it wants to know your Wi-Fi and password. These things should have been a red flag, but I'm stupid and just excited to have a good light bulb. Things start out fine, and I then decided this morning that I wanted to get some more of them from Amazon, so I pull up the recents page. I, compelled by some force, randomly look at the reviews and the first one is warning people about the user agreement. I keep scrolling, everyone else likes it, 5 stars, etc. But then I see another post about the user agreement. So at this point, I'm a little anxious. I open up the app and have to dig to find the user agreement, which, apparently you don't even have to manually approve because they've written a clause that by downloading the app, you're agreeing to the terms. So I start reading it. Everything is really normal and standard, from my skimming experience, right up until I get to the final article. This article takes a hard turn from standard legal lingo and goes straight into saying that the agreement is under the authority of the Communist Party of China, that the app has a right to your data, that they cannot and will not delete your data, and if you badmouth the country or demonstrate feudalistic superstitions, which is apparently code for religion, basically, they have the right to take you to court and punish you according to Chinese law. So now I'm concerned, since it's connected to Alexa, which is already kind of a creepy thing, and while I don't go around talking about Tiananmen very frequently, I'm a little worried I'm probably on a list somewhere now. While they technically didn't do anything scammy or illegal, it didn't sit right with me. I'm now purging my phone and such of everything to do with those stupid light bulbs, and I'm sending them back to Amazon. So, I've learned that, especially in 2020, skipping over the legal agreements is not a smart move. TL, doctor, I didn't read the terms of service for a light bulb and have probably now sold my soul to communist China. No one usually reads the TOS, so it might be better to pay close attention to what level of access you're granting the app, and what kind of reputation the manufacturer has. If it's a sketchy/unknown brand, be especially careful about what you grant it, if anything. You gave it location data, which could be used to build a profile of your routines, but it's not the end of the world. I'd hope you didn't grant access to your contacts or enable the camera/microphone, which would be more concerning. The Wi-Fi password seems like less of a concern, as you probably don't have remote administration enabled on your router, so someone would have to be in physical proximity to access your network. As far as being on a list, I think it's safe to say we're all on a lot of lists. There's data being generated constantly from all the computer systems we use, not to mention all the cameras in public places recording us. So it's more a question of which list and what's on it. If you're not Chinese, don't work for the government or a defense contractor, you're probably not a person of interest to them. While I'm not Chinese, but a lot of my friends are Chinese citizens. I'm a classical musician, so a lot of the instrumentalists are from China and have family in China. Grimacing face, I made the mistake of asking one of them about life in China and that shut that down fast lol. Mandatory, not a lawyer, but just because it's in a EULA, doesn't mean it's legal. Depends on where you live, etc. as well, and it might be of consequence if you visit China, of course, but it's quite likely they are breaking some law in whatever country you're in by doing this. You usually don't get to shove whatever you want in an EULA. Just for fun, I went and looked at the terms of service for my Chinese Smart Lights app and found this wonderful section. Neat. VI. Information Content Standard. 6.1. You promise that you will not conduct any act in breach of laws or improper behaviors by using the service. Such act and behavior include, but not limited to, 6.1.1 uploading, transferring or sharing information containing one of the following contents. 1. Opposing the basic principles determined in the Constitution. 2. Endangering state safety, disclosing state secret, subverting state power and sabotaging state unity. 3. Damaging state honor and benefit. 4. Inciting national hatred and discrimination and sabotaging national unity. 5. Destroying religious policy of the state and advocating heresy and feudalistic superstition. 6. Spreading rumors, disturbing social order and destroying social stability. 7. Spreading obscenity, porn, gambling, violence, murder and terror or abetting a crime. 8. Insulting or slandering others and infringing on the legal rights and interests of others. 9. Containing contents of sham, defraudation, harm, threat, infringement to others' privacy, harassment, infringement, slander, coarseness, indecency, or morally repulsive contents. 10. Containing other contents restricted or forbidden by applicable laws, regulations, rules, provisions and other legal standards. Almost the same wording as mine. I'm not about it, fam. It's like that social rank episode of Black Mirror. It's really scary when a government can decide what is or isn't a comment they allow. Just a heads up, if you're granting IoT devices access to your phone, Wi-Fi or whatnot, which they need to work. You're opening security holes and sharing information with corporations and in turn governments. Don't worry though, you did this when you signed in with a Google or Apple account too. You are a walking target for advertising and for core to make money. That's all they truly care about too. Yeah, we have no privacy. I'd just like to minimize the direct lines. Proves my firm belief to never invest in Alexa, Google Home, smart LED lights and the such. That's a big no from me. Today I fucked up by getting stabbed in the ass with a sword while masturbating. So this is definitely an interesting story, but I thought you all might find it pretty silly, since it's pretty absurd and almost unbelievable in retrospect. I have ADHD, which plays a big part in me lacking good spatial awareness and being a bit very bad at noticing things that could potentially injure me, because I have a habit of struggling to focus on more than one thing at a time. I only mention it since this never would have happened otherwise, haha. This is probably obvious, but this post included a description of the wound that was inflicted on me by a sword gone rogue, so keep that in mind. Anyways, this story starts off with me deciding to get out one of my toys that happened to have a suction cup, and sticking it to a wall. I was having a nice old time, up until I got stabbed in the right ass cheek by one of the little show swords that I had displayed on the wall above me. I live in a trailer, and the wall moving shook it loose, and the force of gravity caused it to jab me in the rear end and then slip out and onto the carpet next to me. It was kind of shocking because it didn't even hurt much, so I thought maybe it had missed me or only poked me a tad. However, when I turned around to check, it looked damn awful. It was a laceration about 1.5 inches or 2 wide, and about the same deep. I kind of just immediately knew it needed stitches and called my mom to call me into urgent care. Thank goodness for her, and that she didn't take too long to arrive. There was a misunderstanding where she thought I was using the sword as a sex toy though, because I was too shook up to think of a convincing lie and just decided to be honest with her, and the phone connection was pretty bad. All's well that ends well though, because it missed anything major and went in parallels to the skin layer, and I just needed to get 9 stitches. I also have a really interesting story to tell now, and a battle scar on my ass, I guess. I was honestly insanely lucky, and this could have ended a lot worse. I'm not sure my close family or friends who know what really happened are going to trust me near any sharp objects for a long time after this one, not that I can blame them. I guess this is just a PSA to watch out for falling swords, or you might end up with a second asshole. Also, sorry to the mods for the unneeded message. Misread and thought I'd broken rule 4 or something. Actually I just forgot my too long didn't read. Too long didn't read. I was using a suction cup dildo and my bedroom wall shaking caused one of my display swords to fall and stab me in the butt. I had to get 9 stitches. Haha, I have a similar story. Doing the do in the shower built-in tub, got weak legs, ended up oh no all fours, and when I stood up the faucet took a chunk out of my ass. Masturbating? Everyone has a weird masturbation injury story. Yours is just a bit better than others. I'm 45 and haven't got one of those yet. I hope I'm not saving up for something incredibly bad. Smiley face. I used to be a masturbator like you till I took a sword to the ass. That's certainly one way to be knighted. Glad you're okay op. Hope it'll heal up nicely.